You know a lot about golf.
Well, we're waiting.
And thanks for waiting all week. We've been kind of anxious, but we are here now. Those Weekend Golf Guys, John Ashton in studio, Jeff Smith from the Plain and Simple Golf School, the Golf Cave at Columbus. We have a fantastic show coming. Not that the others haven't been, but this one is actually more outstanding than you've come to expect from us. We have not only Jeff and I mean, who needs more than that, but just in case, we have Dr. Gary Sales, the head doctor, the psychological guru, the man who can cure what ails you.
Get on the couch, he'll shrink your head.
Yes, the head shrinker. He's coming up a little bit later on. And we're also going to talk to a man of whom you may have heard. His name is David Ledbetter. He's a teacher of some renown out there, so I understand. But,
yeah.
Okay, like one of the greatest golf teachers, not only in the world, but in history.
Have we set the bar so low that this is what it takes to be a great show? Is that what we've done to ourselves?
No. You have to. Okay, maybe.
Lowered the bar.
Yes, but now we're raising it again. This is going to be a hard one to follow up with. But anyhow, that Dr. Gary Sales and David Ledbetter coming up a little bit later on in this week's Those Weekend Golf Guys show, and hope you'll hang out for that. And thank you for coming along. And if you are one of the myriad who have downloaded our free app for your smartphone, whether it be iPhone or Android phone, if you have yet not done so, please do it now. We can wait. Okay. And also thoseweekendgolfguys.com, Facebook.com. Hey, you really need to like us on Facebook, because when you hear from Mr. Ledbetter, we're going to ask him to do us a favor through our Facebook page, and you may be able to get yourself a collector's item right then and there. So, man, I want to tell you something. I was looking through one of the online golf sites that I look at on a regular basis, and they had a list. And it was a top 10 small towns for golfers.
Oh, yeah.
And they had all kinds of towns you never heard of, right? And it's based on how nice it is to live there and how close it is to great golf courses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But these guys don't have a clue. And you know how I know they don't have a clue?
Tell me.
French Lick was not on that list.
What?
Yeah, I mean, you get a small town. I mean, and French Lick qualifies as a small town. That's one of those, you don't go to French Lick unless you're trying to go to French Lick. It's kind of.
They're big enough. They got a McDonald's. They got street signs. They have a stoplight. Come on.
Yeah, they've got two now, don't they?
Big enough.
No, one's blinking. Okay, never mind.
That's an almost stop.
But they do have a McDonald's and a Dairy Queen. And
they've got two of the greatest golf courses you'll ever set your feet on.
Exactly. They've got the Pete Dye course and they have the Donald Ross course in the town itself.
And then they've got the Bendelow course down there, the 9-hole Tom Bendelow design.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful track.
It is, and it's close to Jasper, where you can go to Sultan's Run. It's what, 20 minutes down the interstate or one of the state highways. You can get to Fuzzy's courses, both of them. It's an hour from Indianapolis. It's an hour.
You need to send them a note.
An hour to Evansville, and it's small town America. Yeah, these guys are just outrageous. So I hope they don't take offense. I have put their list up on our Facebook page at facebook.com/golfguys with a note that these guys are clueless. I don't know how many of their other lists we can trust, but they do have some other lists. I know you've got one.
They missed the boat on that one.
On the top 10 worst golf partners.
Oh yeah, the top 10 most annoying golf partners.
Yeah. Was my name on there?
No, they didn't list you by name.
Okay.
But they were trying to be kind. Names have been replaced to protect the innocent. They just call people what they are instead of who they are.
Like
Mr. Angry.
Yeah.
Playing with that guy first. He's just like the volcano. The first sign of a poor shot, and the guy just, he's blowing up, screaming and hollering. It's like something else is really wrong in his life, and he's taking it out on the golf course.
Right.
He's one of those. He's the guy that's throwing the clubs on the first hole.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
Saw one of those guys yesterday. Took a mulligan off the first tee, and they both went into the woods, and he started beating the ground with his driver going, the ground really wasn't responsible for it.
They got Mr. Mood Swing. You know, 1 second he's Mr. Doom and Gloom. Oh, golf is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to sell my clubs. This is awful. Get me out of here. And then he chips one in. And next thing you know, hey, this is the easiest game I've ever played. I'm going to play again tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can do this all day long. You know, that guy. You know, they got a couple of them listed too. It's pretty good. The rules guy.
Oh, yeah.
That really doesn't know the rules, you know.
Right.
The guy that comes up to you and, you know, when you taking a practice swing and then you set your club behind the ball on the tee and it tips it over and you go, yep,
that's one.
Play where it lies. There's one. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
He's the guy. Yeah, he's the guy that when you brush some sand off the green out of your line, he starts to tell you can't do that. That's in your line. You can't touch it. Like, it's sand. It's a loose impediment. You can move that.
Yeah, I hate those guys. They don't get asked back a second time.
No, they really don't.
No.
And then, you know, the coin jangler, you know, Mr. Nervous Hands. He's the guy that whistles when you're taking your shot on the tee, and he's the guy jingling his coins in his pocket.
I always found a well-placed sneeze or cough works quite well, and you can always blame it, you know, on, no, I didn't do that on purpose at all. What I want to ask you about is how would you take the guy who, after you've hit a few shots in the middle of the fairway, goes, hey, if you ever want to sell those irons, you know? What are you trying to say, buddy?
I'll take $1,000 for you right now if you really want them.
And I'll just go drink heavy. I'll meet you back in the pro shop when we're done.
That's it.
Facebook.com/golf guys. You can always go there, and prolific poster, Mr. Jeff Smith, always puts a lot of great stuff up there. And again, go there and like us because it's going to profit you almost immediately. And we'll explain that after we talk with David Ledbetter, who is coming up in just a little bit right here on Those Weekend Golf Guys Do Hang Out, powered by Golf Talk America.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-554-4183 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-554-4183 to take your call now. Call 800-554-4183. That's 800-554-4183. Again, 800-554-4183.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-4030. That's 1-800-616-4030. Again, 1-800-616-4030. Call now.
And thanks again, those weekend golf guys. Glad you are here. We are here, John Ashton and Jeff Smith from the Plain and Simple Golf School at Otter Creek in Columbus. We were out playing golf, intrepid producer, whatever. Mark and I were out playing golf last week, and we found something that was really strange. You know, I've been working with you on setup for the drive.
Right.
Because I had my hands way too far, and the ball way too far back in my stance, my hands too far back in the whole 9 yards. And it's getting to be the point where now it feels natural, and it's like, why haven't I done that before? But I have found that there's a very small area that works. If you get the ball a little too far back from where it should be, the ball goes to the right, and you get it a little too far forward of where it should be, the ball goes to the left. And there's a small area, we call it the Goldilocks area.
Yeah.
Where it's just right.
Right. And everybody has that. It's always good to start with a really good rule of thumb as to where your ball position should be, but yet we all move just slightly differently.
Yeah.
And so you start with the rules of thumb, and then you make your adjustments accordingly. Like, for example, some people are really best when their ball is, for a driver.
Yeah.
Where their ball is just inside the armpit because they move their best that way and they make their best contact right there. Mm-hmm. And some people are on the outside edge of their shoulder. So there's about 3 inches of difference there that I'm talking about in ball position, just left to right. And some people are best if they line the ball up, let's say when they're at their normal address and their ball's lined up slightly on the heel. And some people line up where their ball is slightly on the toe. Mm-hmm. And they make their best golf swings with their best path and their best face position and their best contact and their best distance. And there's that area in there that's not too far out or too close or too left or too right. It's that, like you said, the Goldilocks spot.
That's it. You're the first teacher who has ever explained the positioning of a ball based on anything but your feet.
Yeah, because I've understood for a long time. When I was a student, I was not diligent enough to put my feet in exactly the same location every time I stood over a ball. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I understood very clearly that on the golf course, it's virtually impossible because you're not standing on anything flat on the golf course and you're trying to gain your balance and you're trying to move. Mm-hmm. And sometimes your feet are a little wider. Sometimes they're a little narrower. Sometimes you move your left foot and flare it out and sometimes you don't. So foot position is nothing but a humongous variable. Mm-hmm. So as a teacher, I use a fixed point on your body that won't change positions from swing to swing. I'll talk about your collarbone and your shoulder area and all that because you see that area, that's from the sternum all the way out to your collarbone, the end of your collarbone at your shoulder. It's not getting any wider or narrower from swing to swing. That's a far better point of reference.
Something that confused me, and I'm sure confuses a lot of us amateurs, is they always the first thing I always say is set up to the ball with your feet about shoulder width apart.
Yeah.
Well, how the heck am I supposed to know how wide my shoulders are? I don't look at me.
Right. Here's a great way that I go about telling people that exact thing, because I asked my teacher a long time ago, does that mean that the inside of my feet is at the outside of my shoulders? Does that mean that the outside of my feet are at the inside of my shoulders or my armpits? That's a huge variable. Or does it mean something in between? And he looked at me like, stop asking these questions, boy.
He looked at you and he said, hey, let me give you a number of another teacher you can call.
Right. I think we're about done here.
Because I'm tired of your crap.
That's right, because I was asking questions that he could not or would not give me answers to, and it makes me a better teacher because I need to explain it in a way that they get my meaning.
Right.
And so what I do is if you're looking to find out where your armpits are, just drop your arms and visually follow the line of the inside edge of your arm all the way up to where it stops. Guess what? That's your armpit.
Gotcha.
And then look all the way down as your arms drop down. And if the inside edges of your feet are not straight in line with the inside edge of your arm, guess what? They're either a little narrower or a little wider than your shoulders. It's really simple.
Right. But then again,
you have to have something that's a visual point of reference that is fixed.
Right. But then again, that is different on different shots. You want, like you said, if you need more balance, you need more stabilization, you can spread your feet out a little bit or keep them
But you got to start someplace good. Rule of thumb.
For power purposes, where should your feet be? How far apart should they be? Or is that another variable from player to player?
It's another one of those, it depends.
Okay.
Because every one of us is different. So in this, hey, I can't give you a direct answer stuff, for power for most flexible people, the feet would be a little bit wider so they can wind up their body and then unwind their body fast, and they had a bigger base to hold that together. Because if you tried that with a narrow stance, you'd tip over.
You'd fall over, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But there are some people who are not quite as flexible, and they need more stability in the legs, but they don't move and they won't rotate back enough that a big, a wider stance would just provide a leg angle would be too much, where the feet would be too far out from the hips, then that leg angle would actually stop them from rotating more. It would be a resistor. So those people wouldn't max out then.
Okay.
The people that couldn't rotate very well, they don't need anything else that slows that down. So it depends.
And this again points up the reason why getting your instruction out of the back of a golf magazine probably isn't the best, because it may or may not work for you. Because they don't approach things with a "it depends" idea. They're chiseled in stone. So
yeah. And this is one of the conversations that you and I've had before of why is it that I don't produce too many golf instruction videos anymore. I don't know who the receiver of this information is.
Well, let me tell you about somebody who does put out a lot of videos and writes books and everything. His name is David Ledbetter, and he is going to be our guest coming up in just a little bit. Also, we're going to delve deep into the mind of the golfer with Dr. Gary Sales.
And he can really get people thinking the right way.
He can, and he's coming up next right here with those Weekend Golf Guys. Hang with us. All right, I'm going to tell you something right now that you don't want to hear, but you're going to listen very close. You can spend $199, $299, $399. You could spend $1,050 on a new driver, and it's not going to help. Like I said, you don't want to hear that because you go, oh, my goodness, I just spent all this money. Now, a lesson? Now, that could help. But these drivers that are designed to give you more yardage and straighter, they're all designed for pros. They're designed so amateurs can use them, but they are designed for pros, for very good golfers, which most of us ain't. Maybe you don't want to hear that either. But here's what you can do. High heat drivers. Mark, our intrepid producer, uses one, has improved his game immensely. I use one, has improved my game immensely. Even Jeff uses one. You can't get any better than it was. High heat. Go to KnuthGolf.com and get one. Tell them you heard it from us, and you'll get $70 off with a money-back guarantee. Check it out, KnuthGolf.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-4030. That's 1-800-616-4030. Again, 1-800-616-4030. Call now.
Hey, this is Jeff Smith to talk about one of my favorite teaching aids. It's the Putting Stroke Teacher. It is so simple. You clamp it onto your putter. It's got a rod that sticks out through it. You rest your forearms up against this rod. It's fully adjustable. You make your stroke. Your forearms are level. Your putter face goes exactly where it's supposed to. You get to see it all. Make your adjustments as necessary. Everybody needs one of these. The Putting Stroke Teacher, tpsteacher.com. Again, it's tpsteacher.com. Get yours today.
Now there's a martini that improves your driving. The new Martini Golf Tee actually gives you longer, straighter drives compared to old-fashioned wood tees. It's virtually unbreakable, made in the USA, and conforms with USGA rules. Get yours today at martinigolftees.com. So improve your driving with a martini. The Martini Golf Tee. Visit martinigolftees.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-554-4183 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-554-4183 to take your call now. Call 800-554-4183. That's 800-554-4183. Again, 800-554-4183.
And welcome back, those weekend golf guys. John Ashton here, Jeff Smith at the Golf Cave Otter Creek, the Plain and Simple Golf School in Columbus. And with us on the line, Dr. Gary Sales from Indiana University. And Doc, I got to let you know, you can use me now as one of your success stories.
Okay, fill me in, man. What happened?
I confessed to you earlier that I used to get nervous playing with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And just 2 weeks ago, man, we were out doing a live show at a golf course here in town. And after the show, we went out and played golf. There were only 3 of us, and a single showed up. Never met before in my life. And I said, "You alone?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Come on." And had no problems whatsoever.
All right.
Now we've got just a little more serious problem to deal with. There is an opportunity or a situation where I may be playing in a group of golfers, including an LPGA professional.
Woo-hoo. I would program you for that with a simple conversation. Be ready to learn.
Just pay attention.
He's out there already having accomplished. So this is an opportunity for you to be a sponge and just take it all in. And trust me when I tell you, they're not expecting you to perform. They'll be surprised if you do. So, look at that as an opportunity to learn. You're playing with the big girls now, man.
Well, there you go. 15 seconds, and he just fixed me.
It's how you approach it. Let me give you an example. I've got a senior golfer client who's playing with some young kids. They're playing from the blues, playing about 6,500. He's used to hitting from the senior tees, maybe a wedge, maybe a 9-iron on his approach to the green. But now he's hitting 7-iron, 6-iron, and even a hybrid into the green. So I said, "So what's the adjustment?" And he was complaining about how difficult it's going to be. He says, "No, what it means is now you got to go to the range and learn how to hit your 5 and your 4 and your 6s and your 7s and your hybrids into the middle of the green and then play with these big boys because you're not going to be as long as them. So let's just make the adjustment, go out and have fun instead of being intimidated."
I'm working on the same kind of stuff with my son, but I put him in a bunch of tournaments this year that he's playing it longer. He's playing at 6,500 yards, and he's used to playing at 6,000. And I said, okay, you're going to strike everything from a 7-iron on up to your 3-wood, a whole lot more than you ever have. He's hanging with these kids that are 3 years older than him and hitting it farther off the tee, and he's going, "That's okay. I'll just knock it in the center of the green and make a putt."
There you go. And I know of some guys who are PGA guys playing against some real talented collegiate guys and beating them by 3 and 4 strokes because they're playing the middle of the green and giving themselves the birdie opportunities. And you give yourself a lot of birdie opportunities, and eventually some have got to fall. And he ended beating everybody in his group and winning the tournament, and he was the oldest guy in the draw.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, it's like walking into a room and turning the light on. You know what to expect, and it's not so intimidating.
And that's the whole thing, just because the game itself is intimidating. And
if you let it be.
And golf courses are built to be intimidating. Mm-hmm. So you just have to develop I'm just kind of a laid-back attitude, and I'm just here to have fun kind of thing.
And the only thing I would add to that is I look at every golf course as nothing more than a puzzle that has to be solved. And, that's why they call them practice rounds. You go out, you start putting the pieces together, and then when you come back and play, you should be able to put the puzzle together and perform a little bit better. But that's why playing a golf course for the first time, not knowing what's out there, that's worth about 5 or 6 strokes, Yeah. But just going out and being familiar, picking your landing spots, avoiding the hazards, that's just playing smart golf, but it doesn't change your stroke, it changes your strategy. The swing's the same, just change your strategy.
Yeah. The intrepid producer Mark Hunter and I were talking about going up to French Lick and playing Pro-Am on the Pete Dye course with LPGA professionals. It's like, I don't like the Pete Dye course because I haven't been there often enough to feel familiar with it.
There you go.
So let's go to the Donald Ross course that we've been to so many times. We know where our balls are going to go, and we know which hazard to look for them in.
Here's the thing that I've learned, man. Just take your bogey.
Yes.
Just take your bogey. That a lot of times that relieves a lot of the stress. Angel Cabrera said, I'm going to average about 3 bogeys around, and every time I get a bogey, well, that's one. Got 2 more to go.
That's right.
I read that, and I howled, man. But, he's going to offset that with 5 or 6 birdies, so he's going to be 3 under,
Yeah.
I just howled, man. That's it doesn't get any better than that. There's a guy who's a realist,
Yeah, we played with a guy who had a great attitude. He said, well, I lost 2 balls, but I found 4, so I'm 2 under.
My kind of guy.
And that
man.
was his story, man.
That's right.
There you go. That's it. And I'm going to tell you something, man. The guys who are really, really serious trying to put their neck down, play perfect golf, we're going to beat them every time, man.
Yeah, because one mistake just leads to more mistakes. You compound that when you start
That's right.
You get tight.
Golf is such a tough game for perfectionists. They need to back off a little bit and go, look, man, I'm just going to hit it right there. And that's it. And then when they hit it right there, they just move on and go to the next one. And they go, hey, guess what? I'm gonna hit it over there now. And not worry so much about 5 feet here, 10 feet there. I get some of my players that I work with, and next thing you know, John, you'd mentioned it earlier, some of these course designers design things so that they're intimidating. But wait, time out. You're saying that because you're intimidated. I walk on the same golf course and I look at all the entertainment.
Yeah. I look at it I look at it this way. I can't go left. I can't go right. I may as well go down the middle. You know what I mean? Out of bounds on the left, water on the right. Well, what the heck, man? I'm only left with the middle. Let me, to me, that's just common sense and, and strategic. No, man, use your driver, stripe it. I don't think so.
That's one of the hardest things for an amateur to really get in their head. Okay, so you hit your driver and you hit it badly and you're in jail or you're in the rough or whatever. Instead of trying to come up with a miraculous shot that you don't have in your bag, no matter how hard you look, just punch it out. Get to some place that you can handle and move on from there.
Have you ever seen somebody try to hit a ball that's down in the grass and use a 3-wood to try to get it on from 210 yards?
Yes.
I have, and
I just crack up when I see that, man.
Yeah, you need somebody to be there and just say, "Listen, as a friend, I'm telling you, don't do this."
Yeah,
just don't do this.
I have a tendency
well, not if there's a skin on the line, or not if there's a bet on the line, and say, "Yeah, man, that's a good shot."
Go for it, man.
Yeah,
I have
hit
a tendency
that, man.
to ask my students in that situation,
and
they pull out that 3-wood and they're in the heavy rough and they're 210 left to go, and I'm like, do you really think that that's going to get on the green? And they're like, well, no, I'm going to knock it up there, though. I'm like, so you're saying that you're not going to knock it up there now on this one. So which 2 shots do you want? Because this doesn't seem like one of the ones that I would want if it's going to take me 2 shots.
For real. But let me, I got to tell you guys a story with one of my golfers. She's a collegiate golfer, female. She hit a drive and it didn't land in the fairway, but she could advance the ball to the green. She was close enough to get it out. And it wasn't even a bomb and gouge. It just didn't land and she was in the second cut. So she's upset with herself when we walk up to the ball because it didn't land. I said, look, what are we playing for? Our performance goal was greens and regulation. That's number 1. So, the ball's not in the fairway. It's over here in the rough. Can you get it on the green? Yes. Then it was a good shot. She says, no, it wasn't. It was a good shot.
Yeah.
I says, can you get your, yes, you can get your green. So it was a good shot. Well, remember what Tiger said? He was quoting, I think it was Bobby Jones. With the full swing, he might hit 2 perfect shots in a round of golf. Just 2.
Wow.
And at the time, Tiger was in his prime. And I'm thinking if the best player in the world can hit 2 perfect shots in a round of golf, who am I to complain when I don't get any?
That's right.
Who am I to complain when I don't get any?
Hey, I only hit two fewer than Tiger. Come on.
Tiger's 2 strokes better than you are? That's great.
Dr. Gary Sales, man. I wish we had we're going to have to do a whole show with the doc, man. Because it's just so much fun to have him on, and the time goes so fast, but it already has. And we appreciate you spending some time with us here, man. Now go back to teaching kids who are actually paying tuition. Okay.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I love you guys, man. I love your show.
Appreciate it, Dr. Gary Sales.
All right, now.
Hang with us. We will be right back. Don't you move.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-554-4183 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-554-4183 to take your call now. Call 800-554-4183. That's 800-554-4183. Again, 800-554-4183.
All right, I'm going to tell you something right now that you don't want to hear, but you're going to listen very close. You can spend $199, $299, $399. You could spend $1,050 on a new driver, and it's not going to help. Like I said, you don't want to hear that because you go, oh, my goodness, I just spent all this money. Now, a lesson? Now, that could help. But these drivers that are designed to give you more yardage and straighter, they're all designed for pros. They're designed so amateurs can use them, but they are designed for pros, for very good golfers, which most of us ain't. Maybe you don't want to hear that either. But here's what you can do. High heat drivers. Mark, our intrepid producer, uses one, has improved his game immensely. I use one. It's improved my game immensely. Even Jeff uses one. You can't get any better than it was. High heat. Go to KnuthGolf.com and get one. Tell them you heard it from us, and you'll get $70 off with a money-back guarantee. Check it out, KnuthGolf.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-4030. That's 1-800-616-4030. Again, 1-800-616-4030. Call now.
And welcome back. We are those weekend golf guys. John Ashton here, Jeff Smith up at the Plain and Simple Golf School in Columbus. And we are very pleased to welcome a guest to those weekend golf guys. When you think of great golf instructors in the world, two names pop into your head. One, of course, being Jeff Smith. If you listen to us, that better be one that pops into your head. And the other, of course, being David Ledbetter. And we are very pleased to have David Ledbetter with us here on the air. David, thanks for spending some time with those weekend golf guys this weekend. How you doing, man?
I'm very well, and thank you very much for having me on the show, guys.
Hey, you're quite welcome. And you can tell by his accent that he lives in South Florida. So.
Very south, yeah, very south. People ask me where I'm from. I'm very, very east of Florida. Very east.
Now, I want to ask one thing right off the bat, okay? Ernie Els is a former student of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that easy swing of his, is that pure talent, or is that something you can teach me?
I think that's God-given.
Okay.
All
right, well, cross that off the list then. All
yeah,
right.
I started coaching Ernie when he was 19, and, he already had that. Technically, we changed some things, but he always had that beautiful rhythm. And he had that, actually, I remember seeing pictures of him, or film of him when he was actually serving in tennis. So it was just part of his makeup, really, that fluidity, sort of like a Roger Federer, I suppose. If he played golf, he'd probably have the same look,
That's so frustrating. I mean,
yeah, you can't buy that stuff.
Can't buy it. No. I've been saving up, man. Now what am I going to do?
Here's a guy whose shoulders are so broad, and David, you've certainly seen him up close and personal, and as have I. His shoulders are so broad that when he wears a horizontal striped shirt and he makes that massive shoulder turn that he makes, it looks like an airplane taking off.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
He's got an unbelievable span, if you will, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's amazing how he's able to wind up, and I think you see that in a lot of great ball strikers through the years. Greg Norman comes to mind, obviously, with very wide shoulders, and Faldo, the same thing, Nick Price, the same, and so it certainly helps. That just gets the old upper body coiling and winding, and Ernie does it. That's the epitome of his golf swing, is that beautiful coil and wind up on his backswing.
And one more thing we'd like to do before we get really into it is, on behalf of the male population of the world, I'm not sure if you're responsible for developing Michelle Wie's putting stance, but we do thank you, whether you did or not. Okay?
We better not talk too much about that subject. But yeah, absolutely. But I have to tell you that is not something that I suggested to her, because if anybody likes to try that, you better make sure you have your chiropractor's number handy.
Oh, definitely. How difficult is it to get a guy like Nick Faldo or Nick Price or any of the guys who've gone on to be superstars in the golf business and change what they're doing?
Well, every case is different, and it is amazing. Look, you get some players. With a Nick Faldo, we changed a lot. Nick Price, we didn't change that much. It's subtle changes, shall we say, and it's all about understanding the swing, and each player understands their own swing, I should say, and it's. I think as a teacher, you have to be very instinctive. If you look at, say, Butch Harmon, Butch is a great teacher, but a lot of the players he teaches really haven't changed their swings that much. If you look at, Phil Mickelson, I defy anybody to say, hey, there's a lot of changes in his swing since he started working with Butch. But what he does do, he works on the things that they know that work, and they keep working on it. So I think people sometimes get an idea that a teacher is going to change everything completely, and that's not the case. And in fact, the less you change, obviously, the better, because if you've grown up with something, you really pretty much want to stick at it, if you can, if it's working, and just enhance it. And so I think that's the key to teaching, is really being able to change as and depending on the individual that you're working with. And so, as I say, some players, Lydia Kos, we have changed somewhat. Michelle Wie, no. Just pretty much, she's got some of the traits she had, or most of the traits she had when she was 15. So it is a case of looking at each individual case, I think.
Well, you are one of the premier golf instructors in the world, in history maybe. I'm a mere student, and ask Jeff, not a very good one to begin with. So what I'm going to do is defer, and I'm going to let Jeff and you talk about teacher stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
David, I've been a teacher for about 20 years, and I've learned an awful lot from your teaching. Not just the DVDs that you've produced, but you have been a world-class teacher of teachers. There are many influences that you have, and you have shared your experience with an awful lot of people. So first, thank you very much for all of that. You're 30-plus years as a teacher. But some of the things that I've learned and that other people have learned, how to use video better. You are somewhat of a pioneer in the use of video and doing it well. And how you used it certainly shaped how an awful lot of people taught the game. How do you think that when you started to develop using some video, how do you think you changed as a teacher?
Well, that's a very good question, and thank you very much for those kind words as well. But I think that, look, if it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else. Video was coming, and we can see what it's led to now with all the obviously technology we have around to assist us. And in the end, they are tools after all, even from TrackMan to force plates to you name it. They are tools which actually help in getting the message across. So I think more than anything, golf is a difficult game from the standpoint of what we feel we do and what we actually do, as we know, are two different things. And so I think video, was really enabled us as teachers to be able to explain it in a much simpler fashion. And make comparisons and to see improvement. And now, obviously, we can quantify it with numbers now with TrackMan. But I think it enabled not only for me to sort of, because I've been a very instinctive teacher, and I sort of I'm very visual, and I get a picture in my mind of how I think a person should swing. And then it's a lot easier if you can actually show somebody exactly where they are, and maybe the coach or the teacher makes a swing and say, okay, and you match them up. It does help, obviously, visual people a lot more than anything else. I mean, I've had players actually who are not particularly visual. They're more kinesthetic. They're more feel-oriented, and they actually don't like looking at video. Video sort of distracts them. So you have to, once again, even with video, you've got to use it with, I would say, discretion, shall we say. And so, I can't tell you how many times I've been at tournaments through the years where a player wanted to look at their swing on video, and I said, oh, gosh darn, battery's flat. I didn't want him to see it because I mean, the problem is, as golfers, we're all perfectionists. We all think it's probably better than it actually is, and although you can get somebody to hit the ball quite nicely, in fact, there may still be a little idiosyncrasy in there that they've been working on probably for maybe their whole golfing careers. And yet, players, as I say, it's a very fickle game, this instruction, as we all know, as you know, Jeff. I mean, teaching somebody, it's like it's a lot of trial and error. It's not all pure, science. I mean, there's a lot of science, as we know. There's a lot of art, and there's a lot of instinct in teaching, and sometimes you hit on it, and sometimes you don't. And so I think that's why, today, unfortunately, everybody tries to pigeonhole everything today. It's not all, there's all the science around, but as I like to say, look, people in the old days say, hey, listen, what you do before video and all this? I said, well, it was just my instinct, I say, today we can actually, rather than just my opinion that the swings were bad and they needed improvement. Now we can actually prove it. That's the difference.
Right.
So it's a case of how you get the message across. And video obviously is a tremendously helpful tool, and it certainly was a big boon in teaching for everybody, really, for all teachers.
I would agree. I have spent an awful long time with a camera, and I have spent an awful lot of time trying not to show that to the student. I've found that many students, as you mentioned, they get distracted. Some people get obsessed by a certain thing, and some people get distracted by other things. There's examples of, if you use with a beginner, and sometimes you don't know who they are as a person yet. And they may feel like, boy, I look a little heavier than I thought I should look.
Yeah, that's one of the common things. Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
the camera adds 10 pounds, guys.
A very funny story. I had a couple. They were an elderly couple, and the lady was a little overweight, and we put them on video there. And she berated her husband for about the whole lesson. Why actually he let her wear stripes when he knew she was going to be on film.
David Ledbetter is our guest here on Those Weekend Golf Guys, and you have a new book out called The A Swing, and Jeff used to tell me that I have an A swing. The A stood for awful. I have an idea that that's not what it stands for in your new book, but we are going to come right back if you'll hang with us through the break here, and we will discuss in detail the A swing and all of its ramifications. David Ledbetter's new book available now, and you need to hang out with us right here on Those Weekend Golf Guys, powered by Golf Talk America. Don't move. Jeff, I was out Monday with Joseph, my 10-year-old, and we both were having the same problem, man. Just missing. Trying to read the green, and the ball breaks, you get the line, and it stops 2 inches before you get to the cup.
Missed it by that much.
Or it scoots by on the left or the right by a hair. And moves on.
The hard thing there is getting your stroke to go where you're aimed. People, they do some hand twisting, their arms move around, but not the people that come see me in my clinics. We start the putting with the putting stroke teacher. We get them on there. Their forearms are nice and level. The putting stroke teacher fits right on their putter, and next thing you know, they're draining putts. And they're looking at this going, this is the easiest thing I've ever seen.
Nice. I tried it and it worked.
Well, if it works for her,
that's right.
It's going to work for anybody.
6 straight putts in a row.
As I say, I got to get me one of these.
That's right.
What is it? The Putting Stroke Teacher, TPSteacher.com.
TPSteacher.com. Yeah, TPSteacher.com. Got to get one of those things, man. They're easy.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 of pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-554-4183 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-554-4183 to take your call now. Call 800-554-4183. That's 800-554-4183. Again, 800-554-4183.
And welcome back, those weekend golf guys. John Ashton, Jeff Smith, and hanging with us through the break. Hope you did, because David Ledbetter did too. And he's got a brand new book called The A-Swing. And one of the segments of the book I read there, David, was about a 7-minute practice session. And I said to myself, I think I could probably handle that. Because for most of us in my position, which is a purely recreational amateur golfer, the whole practice idea is it's time we don't have. We have to choose, are we going to practice golf or play golf? So 7 minutes and doing it, in my living room or my backyard or on the deck or whatever, that is something that doesn't intimidate me and doesn't turn me off. So thank you for putting it out that way. But once again, I defer to our teacher in residence, Mr. Jeff Smith, who understands the whole teaching aspect of this thing.
As we look into this in this alternative swing, it works for everybody. David, correct me if I'm wrong. You're not picking out a certain body type and that fits it, and really that's all. You're saying, hey, look, this is going to work for an awful lot of folks here.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely right. But let me say, from the outset here, look, it's really, I've never liked to be termed a method teacher. This is really an approach. It's an organic approach. The key really, A stands for alternative, and it's the alternative backswing more than anything else. I think, as teachers, physiologists, trainers, we all know sort of pretty much how the swing works these days. I mean, from how energy transfers from lower body to upper body, the arms, the hands, the club. But I think one of the most difficult things, I think, for players of all levels, for that matter, is the backswing. I mean, I just think people work so hard for so many years trying to get a backswing, trying to get the club in position in order to make some sort of decent downswing. And so the essence of the A-swing really is to get a simpler backswing whereby you can get in position to come down in a more synchronized manner, because the whole essence of the A-swing essentially is that how you sync up your arms and your body. To me, that's the key for consistency. Everybody's looking for consistency. So if you simplify the backswing, and it's what we call a minimalistic backswing. In other words, there's less movement. Let's take Usain Bolt. Okay, he's in the news at the moment. Okay, now if he's zigzagged all over the track, okay, he wouldn't be having the times that he does. Okay, he'd be running 150 meters. Most people, okay, if you consider the backswing 100 meters long, most people do travel about 150 meters to get there. Okay, that's the best example I can give. So this is a much simpler way of getting the club to the top. So it synchronizes the arms and the body, and ultimately it allows the body to work better on the downswing and gets the club into the right position coming down. There's a baseball component to this. If you look at a batter in baseball, the bat's sort of somewhere up in the sky. They're waiting for the pitch. Okay, so it's almost say it's at 12 o'clock. As they move their lower body, the bat then flattens and shallows out onto the plane that the pitch is coming on. And that is, in essence, is really what we're saying with the A-swing. I've always believed in having a more vertical backswing to have a shallower downswing. And so, yes, it does work with a lot of different body types. Some players can't get it as steep, and I liken it to, being from England originally, I like Indian food. And so, but when you order Indian food, okay, there's different degrees of heat or spiciness, shall we say. You get the mild, you get the medium, you get the hot, you get the extremely hot. Now, if you follow the model exactly for this ace swing, it would be the extremely hot version. But even if you have the mild version, if you can simplify this backswing, we've suggested a slightly different grip from the traditional approach to how the grip should be undertaken. And it essentially, there's no rotation of the club face going back. To me, so many amateurs, as they roll the club back, somehow they're going to roll the club back down again. So it eliminates that aspect of the swing. We've really tried to sort of simplify things. And, so many players have displayed traits of this ace swing through the years. One of my favorite swingers of all time, probably the most accurate hitter in the history of the game, was Calvin Peete. Now, if you look at his golf swing, it looked a little strange, a little homemade, shall we say. I mean, he had a bent left arm because he broke his arm when he was a kid. But if you look at what the club does, the club head never gets behind his hands. It always stays in front of his hands. And as he changes direction, the club shallowed down. And my goodness me, did he not get the club in a good position from halfway down through to after impact. I mean, he was no doubt the straightest hitter, I would say, in the history of the game. I mean, he led the driving statistics, fairways hit for 10 years in a row, averaging over 80% every year. I mean, it was just incredible. So, it's interesting. I mean, if you look at young Lydia Ko, she displays great traits of this ace swing, and people are interested. I mean, it's a lot easier when you see it on video, and I say it's been out a couple of months, but the book has been really well received up to this point. I mean, we've had amazing comments. You just got to go on Amazon.com and and check it out, some of the reviews, and people say, hey, this is natural, this has been a lifesaver. I mean, I do a radio show myself, obviously not up to you guys' standards, but I do on Sirius Radio. I have one at 9 o'clock called Ledbetter's Locker Room, and we get people calling in about the ace swing, and I had this one fellow saying, you saved my marriage because my wife started playing better, and she was going to quit the game, and I didn't want, that was just a sidebar. But I mean, and along, you mentioned there, John, the 7-minute practice plan. Well, the problem is that most people do not have a lot of time to practice. And listen, if you want to get better, you've got to do a little bit of work. And so there's 6 little swing exercises, and we provide even a short club if you're worried about damaging your fancy artwork or chandeliers. A little short club you can practice with. You don't have to hit a ball. And there's 6 little swing exercises which take about 7 minutes to actually complete the whole program. It just develops a sort of feel or a muscle memory, if you will, whereby when you go out and play, and this is the ultimate, isn't it? When you go out and play, you're not really thinking about your technique, you're just thinking about hitting shots. And this, in the end, this ace swing does help to produce a draw, and which is obviously the curse of 90% of the world's golfers, the fact that they're steep, over the top, swinging from the outside, and this does get the club shallowing, and that's the key. It gets the club on the right plane coming down with the arms and body more in sync. So in a nutshell, that's it.
Over the years, you've created an awful lot of really terrific and specific training aids. But yet this one, you've got something called the boomerang. That is really nice. It sits underneath your right arm on the way back, and it keeps your arm in.
Yeah, I got where I got the idea from. Obviously a lot of times when we're trying to keep people connected, shall we say, with it be the right arm or the left arm, we put a head cover or something. And I used a putter cover, and I was using an Odyssey putter cover, and it had a magnet in it, and it fell out, and I just put my club head on, picked it up. Oh, that's a good idea. So this is what we actually made the boomerang with that in mind. It's got a little magnet in it, so you put it under your arm, and when it does fall out, which it eventually probably will do as you follow through, right, you just don't have to bend over. You just put it back under your arm. And lazy way to practice.
That's right. And I would be the first one to tell you that might be the first training aid that John would be willing to use because of that magnet.
No bending over. Sign me up.
It really helps when you fold that right arm with a beer in your hand there, John. You just stick that right. It's right under your armpit. It works perfectly.
He's been watching.
He has been watching.
Yeah, and if anybody's interested, look, you just go to ledbetteraceswing.com and just check it out. I mean, the testimonials are there, and I just hope. Listen, we know instruction, people have different versions of how it should be done and different opinions and points of view and so on. Look, I just hope that, I mean, we've seen a lot of great results. I've had a lot of teachers come to me and say, wow, this is really easy. I had a fellow come to me and said, you know, I tried this out. He said, I was at the Ladies US Open, and he came up to me. He's one of the teachers, one of the golf professionals up in the area, up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He said, I tried it out. He said, I started hitting it so well, and I tried it with a couple of my members. He said, the word got around. He said, my lesson book is full for the next 3 months. He said, I just want to thank you. That's great, you know. So right. I just hope in some way that the A-swing can sort of weave its way into the fabric of golf instruction, because it is a pretty easy way of swinging the club. And, you know, after all, I mean, look, as we all know, look, if we can get people playing good golf and hitting the ball solidly, having more fun, they're going to stay in the game. I mean, that's the easiest way to keep people playing. Okay, forget about making holes bigger and all the rest of it. You know, I mean, just get people hitting the ball better, having more fun, and they'll come back and play.
Exactly, and there's usually that one great shot toward the end of a round that makes you come back the next time, anyhow, no matter how badly you've played. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Something that can be easily understood and feel more natural and easy to practice, and then to show results when you start actually striking the ball on the course. I mean, it's phenomenal. LedbetterASwing.com. You want information, go to Amazon.com. It's David Ledbetter's The A-Swing.
Yeah, it's in Barnes & Noble, and so and the book's done. You know, it's really well. It's got 200 illustrations in it, and and you can just take little pieces. As a great Harvey Penick used to say, listen, you don't have to take the whole bottle. Just take 1 or 2 pills, and you'll see a difference.
And the good news is, thanks to the generosity of Mr. Ledbetter, you can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/golfguys. And sign up to win maybe an autographed copy of the A-Swing from David Ledbetter. So not only have a great book, but a collector's item to boot. Mr. Ledbetter, pleasure to meet you, sir.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
Ledbetter's Locker on Sirius XM Radio. You can catch him there, or maybe we'll have him back here if
anytime.
Grace us with his presence yet again. We are Those Weekend Golf Guys. We do thank you for hanging out with us, too. You can catch us anytime, thoseweekendgolfguys.com. Facebook.com/Golf Guys. You can follow us on Twitter at WKND Golf Guys. Download our app so you can listen to us on your schedule, not ours. You can get it for free, whether an Android or an iPhone. We got them both for you. And then we'll be back right here next weekend at this same time. Go out and play some golf, all right? Have a good week. Bye. All right, I'm going to tell you something right now that you don't want to hear, but you're going to listen very close. You can spend $199, $299, $399. You could spend $1,050 on a new driver, and it's not going to help. Like I said, you don't want to hear that because you go, oh, my goodness, I just spent all this money. Now, a lesson? Now, that could help. But these drivers that are designed to give you more yardage and straighter, they're all designed for pros. They're designed so amateurs can use them, but they are designed for pros, for very good golfers, which most of us ain't. You know, maybe you don't want to hear that either. But here's what you can do. High heat drivers. Mark, our intrepid producer, uses one, has improved his game immensely. I use one. It's improved my game immensely. Even Jeff uses one. You can't get any better than it was. High heat. Go to KnuthGolf.com and get one. Tell them you heard it from us, and you'll get $70 off with a money-back guarantee. Check it out, KnuthGolf.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-4030. That's 1-800-616-4030. Again, 1-800-616-4030. Call now.